McKenna's gonna be like, what is that? Wait, let me get your name just right.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Mayor and Council's work session for our utility funds for this evening. It's Monday, April 11th, 2022. Just for everybody watching at home, our utility funds encompass the Water Resources Department, which is water, sewer, and stormwater, and then our electric utility. So we'll start with, water resources? Okay, we'll start with electric then, since that's up on the screen.
Sorry.
Okay. And we have our electric utility director, Tim Lawrence.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'll just start off at the very top there, 5600 administration. I have a 2010 Ford pickup truck that I've had since the day I started. It has about 110,000 miles on it. The seats have some issues, mechanical issues, that type of thing. We also have two other vehicles that are involved in this. One of them is to the top right, the green Ford Ranger is a 1997 Ford Ranger truck. And what's going on with that one is the fuel tank is leaking on that vehicle, and you cannot find a new fuel tank for it. So I talked to Bob Clark about it, and he has tried several places trying to find a fuel tank for it, and you can't get one for it. So basically we've got to make a decision on what to do with that truck. And then the other one is the truck that you see on your bottom right is that's the bed of the truck, and the inside of that truck, that's a 1999 utility bed truck. We keep that around for seasonal help to use for painting and that type of thing. And what the plan is to take my vehicle that I'm driving right now, and basically that vehicle will replace both of these vehicles. We will get rid of the Ford truck, and then the 1999 utility bed truck. That truck will just go up on gov deals to be sold, and then my vehicle would take the placement of those two vehicles. So, in other words, you're gonna be doing away with one vehicle, basically, that you no longer will have in the fleet, and then the other vehicle replaces both of them for the same purpose. That's in 5600 for the administration. And then 5610, the power plant department. If you could bring that up, Kelsey.
Yeah, I'm not sure, is that this one?
That's part of it right there.
Okay.
Before we transition to the power plant, now the vehicle, the F-250, will be used for?
That'll be my main vehicle that I drive every day.
And is there a reason that we're transitioning from the F-150 to the F-250?
Yes. Most pickup trucks that we buy nowadays, we also purpose that truck for snow plowing. So there will actually be a snow plow that comes with that vehicle. So during heavy snowstorms like we had here recently, that truck will be out plowing the roads also as needed.
Thank you.
And plus, the F-250 is also used for transporting transformers to and from site and things like that. It's a heavier vehicle that can tow more capacity and carry more capacity. The way it's set up now is if we have to carry, like let's say a 75 kVA transformer, we have to put that in the back of the line truck to transport it to the job site. This could actually be used for that purpose also.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Moving on to 5610, the power plant. There's several projects in this lineup that you're looking at. The first thing I'll talk about is the two pictures on the far right, which are the top one and the bottom one. What that is, that's a ABB relay cabinet that sits out in the power plant. And keep in mind, when you're looking at these pictures, some of this equipment that's in the power plant over there in the substation is from the 50s and 60s. That's how long it's been in existence. Cabinet to the far right in the pictures, the top and the bottom, That is a relay cabinet. It was actually slated to be replaced last year, but we didn't have the funds to do it. So we actually painted the top of the cabinet, trying to keep it from rusting. What that cabinet does, it basically is the protection relay system for the transformers at the substation. And you can tell from the rust that you see in the pictures, on the top right especially, it's actually rusting through the top of the cabinet, and water is coming down inside the cabinet where the relays are located. So that's why we're replacing that one. And then you're going to have to, you can stay right where you're at. The center pictures, the top one and the bottom, those are the, if you look on the substation transformer fans, replacing those. Those fans have been on, you can tell they're installed by hand. The way they're built is with cross arms and braces and that type of thing. That fan system has been on there, I would say, probably since the 60s or 70s. And basically the top fan is seized up on it. You can tell from the rust and everything on it. And the system that needs to be replaced and updated, just like we did the ones at Savage Substation some years ago. They actually, what that system does, it cools the oil that travels through the transformer. So on the real hot days, it kind of acts like an air conditioning system for the transformer. Excuse me. The pictures on the bottom left, that's what's called a MOHAB switch. If you, I think we're actually going to just trip over that one. Okay, we're actually going to skip over that picture there. If you look to the center top right, that is the transformers that are slated to have to be refurbished. Basically, that is testing on the transformers. They're slated to be painted. You have to do what's called Doble testing, and basically you're doing this testing to see where the life of the transformer is basically at. It tells you whether there's anything going on internally inside the transformer before something major is, occurs to it. It's kind of like preventive maintenance, but it can save you a whole lot of money in the long run, basically, by doing that type of testing to the transformer. Is there any other pictures?
There were these.
Okay. We'll start over to your top left. That box-looking structure you see there, that is the one where you see the power plant primary S&C switch. That box structure was built, I would say, probably in the 60s or 70s, and it's basically starting to rot. The poles are and that type of thing. And my plan is to basically remove that and install it with a pad-mounted switch that takes the place of the box structure. That would all come out of the substation, and then you would just have like a green box that sits there. Everything goes into it underground and back out, and then that structure goes away. So that's that one. And then the gray cabinet on the left bottom, that's the relay cabinet that I was talking about. And then also the center picture on the top center is the relay cabinet that is getting a lot of rust in it and that type of thing from moisture getting into it. Did I miss anything there? I think that was it. Have any questions?
Thank you. Any questions for our electric utility director?
So Tim, this 70,000 for refurbishing, that's for preventative maintenance on multiple transformers, right?
Yes, there's a total of three, actually three and a spare. And what they do is we have to do that during the shoulder months when we're not peak shaving, because we have to de-energize the transformers. And when they come in, it takes 3 or 4 days. They have to do all this different testing on it. They drain all the oil out of it, filter it, put the oil back in it. It's a long process to it. And it basically extends the life of the transformers. Those transformers, to buy them today, you're probably looking at, I would guess, around 200 grand each. So it's something you should do, you know, periodically. And it hasn't been done since I've been here in 12 years.
Does these prices include installation and that type of thing that goes along with the replacement?
They don't actually replace them, they come here on site, and they set up for 2 or 3 days, and they do all the work to the transformers, you know, with all the testing and everything. It's a long process.
So it's $130,000 for the replacement of a 1999 relay cabinet.
Yes, what about that?
That includes the cabinet and the installation?
Yes, sir, that's everything.
That's everything.
Mhm.
And I think one of the things you all might want to hear as well, when they do this refurbishing of these transformers, when they come in and analyze the fluids, when you analyze those fluids, a lot of times they can give you an idea if something's about to go wrong, so that it can be fixed before it goes wrong.
And we actually do the transformers at Savage Substation annually, and these are also done annually as far as just oil testing. And what they do is they pick up like high nitrogen, that type of thing, or any type of thermal heating, which gives us an indication that something is going wrong internally. And that way you can catch it ahead of time, repair it before it does some major damage to it.
Now, we're looking at $695,900 in expenditures, and of that, $237,500 is offset by new development, which means that we're only pulling the $458,400 from our operating revenues. Is that correct?
Yes.
And just so that everybody that's watching along understands that as well. And what that means is that when a new development comes in, they're paying for their cost of that service, whether it's undergrounding or whether it's the
That's correct.
new switch or the transformers that we're looking at.
That's correct.
And I just wanted to point out what you're seeing on the screen. This was converted from a PDF to PowerPoint, and you may have noticed the paper's correct, but it's like missing, it knocked 3 zeros off. So the power plant,
See, it's just to the next line.
You mean it's not $60?
oh, okay, yeah, it went down to the next line. So those are, just pointing that out so you're not like, that's, yeah. It's correct on paper, but for some reason in PowerPoint it didn't want to convert it properly.
And it's also correct on the packet that's
Yes,
available
yeah,
online.
yeah,
Yes.
just what you're looking at on the screen is not.
Thank you. Any other questions for our Electric Utility Director, Tim Lawrence?
The only other one I had was that, the pole thing with the poles in the box, that when condensing that into the smaller green box, I guess in my mind, I'm thinking, but wondering, efficiency, is it going to be more? I'm
Yes, yes. Basically what it does, you're removing the overhead system and you're basically putting it underground, so it's not susceptible to storms and that type of thing. It'll look sort of like a transformer that's out in your front yard,
Yeah.
Decatur Farms, for example, but a little bit bigger.
And Mayor, before you move on, if I may, please, the one thing, and I'm going to say it again when we get into the actual budget workshop for the utility funds, but I want everyone to realize something. And again, I will say that, you know, Tim and I have been employed here pretty much from the same day going forward. And I just want to give you a little history on something. In 2008, what you were paying per kWh for electricity back in 2008 was roughly 18 cents per. Today, you're paying about 12 cents. Okay, that's a credit to that young man right there. Current outages, I mean, you think back prior to Tim's arrival, my understanding was that the Berlin Electric Utility had every week, if not every day, there was a power outage for some reason. And you know, the reason was older equipment. Anyway, well, you know, Tim's come in, and the reality is he's been very proactive. He hands down right there, my observation over the years, safety, it's his middle vein. He believes in that, he preaches it, he does it well. He does a lot of training. That department speaks for itself as well, a number of accolades from APPA and AMP. And then I know that one of Tim's greatest accomplishments, and we're almost there, is we've gone through how many apprentices in 10, 12 years? 5, 6?
Probably 5 to 6.
And we've got one right now that's right there on the cusp
Real
of becoming a
close.
certified linesman. So, again, that's a credit to Tim. Not the other 4 or 5 that have left, but getting this one young man to where he needs to be a certified Class 1 linesman.
It's exciting.
I'd just like to say one thing, it wasn't all me.
I know it wasn't.
It was a
A
team
lot of
effort
it was.
between everybody. Appreciate it. Thank
Well,
you.
not
Thank
only
you.
all those things that he said, but other municipalities, like when Jack and I were traveling through visiting other municipalities during MML last summer, several of them were tooting your horn, not just the electric facility, but also Tim Lawrence. So they really think highly of what you guys have done here in the town of Berlin and what you brought to this municipality.
Thank you.
Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other questions for Tim? If not, we're going to move on to water resources, and we'll start with the water fund.
Well, should we do power distribution? Or
We did that, I think.
The bottom.
we did that?
We covered distribution. We phased right in from 5610 power plant to distribution.
Oh.
Am I correct or no?
No.
Oh, so this
I
was.
thought we did, I'm sorry.
No, we didn't finish.
Oh.
My
Shoot.
apologies.
It's okay.
Okay, maybe I'm losing it.
All right.
Okay, well, thanks for holding us to it.
I'll pick up where I was at. 5620 is power distribution. That's basically what you see out in the field as you drive around town, all the different developments. Most of this is based on recovering those costs from the developer. Basically, when we go in and build a development, the utility system to feed a development, the developer pays for the installation of the utility system. That includes everything from material to labor to vehicle cost associated with that job. And normally, at least twice a year, we do commercial services, which requires 3-phase transformers. That's a commercial transformer, so I included that in there. And then we have a project which is called transclosure replacement, and we normally do about 2 of those a year. One of them was the fire department that we did recently. That's where it's got 3 overhead transformers. You take them out and you put a pad mount transformer in. In fact, we're going to be doing one at Gold Creek probably, I would say, next month and during May. That one's going to be down there. Underground electric service primary, that's basically the installation of the 25 kV system that feeds the development, the transformers, that type of thing. Underground electric service, that's the secondary service that runs from the transformer to each house. We're responsible on the utility side to do the residential homes. On the commercial side, the developer is responsible to install the cable from the transformer to the commercial site. But on residential, we're responsible. Electric pole replacement, we normally do 8 to 10 of those a year. They could either be based on, rotten poles, for example, damage during the wind storm, during a hurricane, those type of things. And they're normally about $2,500 each to do those. New development, S&C switch. We have a development in town that once it gets rolling, that there's going to have to be an S&C switch installed there for that purpose. And then new development, that's basically any type of, I'll just give you an example. Purnell Crossing North, for example, that's getting ready to be developed right now. There's installation of some primary, it's got to go in there. There's 4 transformers that have to be installed, secondary services, that type of thing. So that's one development. Another one is Troy's, your development. You get a move on that. Main Place off of Bay Street, that's another development if it gets moving. So those are kind of all rolled into that price that you see right there.
I apologize for almost moving through yours. Now, the $70,000 expenditure that we approved the other night, is that in this new development transformer cost?
The 70?
I believe we approved a $70,000 expenditure for transformer.
Yes, that is part
For
of it.
FY
Yes,
'23.
yes.
Tim,
That was the 50.
the 70,000 is in your non-capital items. It's in
Right, I mean, it's not in this,
It's
on
not
this
in the
paper,
capital.
but no.
It's approved, it's in the budget, but not in the capital items because it's several transformers.
Okay, so the quantity equaled above the capital
Right.
asset
That's
price,
correct.
but,
Yes.
okay, the individual cost did not.
Individual cost is not.
Okay. Thank you.
Tim, I have a question for you. So in a situation like Food Lion, where they added new equipment and it was drawing too much power that their service couldn't handle, and you had to, what, put in a new transformer or whatever?
Actually, we ended up separating the way the shopping center was set up is the entire shopping center was feeding off of 1 feed direction off
Right.
of, basically coming off of William Street. So what we did is we ended up splitting the primary service in the middle. So part of the shopping center is off one side, the Food Lion is off the 113 side, so it kind of sits by itself now. And what we did there is we upped the fuse sizing for the capacity of their usage inside the Food Lion. So right now, we feel that we're okay with it, but we're not sure if they're having what's called harmonic issues. Harmonics are caused by different equipment coming on at certain times, and they don't have like starter motors for them, soft start we call it, and that can create issues back to your transformer. So right now, we think we're okay, we're just kind of sitting and waiting to see what happens. Now, if that is the case, and we have to upgrade the transformer, they will pay us to upgrade.
That was my question.
That is correct.
Pay for any additional equipment.
Anytime that happens, any type of upgrade, if they add more equipment and they draw more amperage, then they would pay for us to upgrade the equipment.
Gotcha.
How does that change billing? Because wasn't the customer they were above whatever our tier is, right, for transitioning to another level?
You talking about the rate structure?
Correct.
Yes, not necessarily if they're already under what's called a general service demand, am I correct? They would stay that. I don't think there's any higher than that unless you go to primary.
So it was the,
So demand is basically the draw additional power once everything fired up. So
Get
that's-
billed accordingly.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So
Tim
Tim,
has a mantra, the developer pays for everything.
Troy knows. I've sent him a few bills.
Thank you, Troy.
Tim, I may have asked this last year and I just don't remember, but through AMP, just in the event, God forbid something horrible happens, if you need more poles I don't want to say the word, but an event, can you obtain more, procure
Yes.
more?
We have a mutual aid agreement through AMP with 135 other municipalities. That's everything from material to vehicles to personnel. If a major disaster was to occur on the utility system, we would have no problem.
I mean, the hurricane season is coming up quick, so you made me think of it. Thank you.
Yeah, in fact, they just sent out a new app yesterday. I have an app on my phone now that they have a zone designated person for AMP that handles like the East Coast. We all now have an app on our cell phone that we automatically get notified right through the app.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so the district guy would actually contact me right through that app.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well,
The part that we did a moment ago. Any questions for Tim Lawrence? All right, round two, no takers, but.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to water resources, and we'll start with the water fund and our water resources director, Jamie Latch.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Thank you for letting me present my capital budget. We're going to go with the water, the side first. The water administration, we're looking at a truck with Jimmy, and we're going to replace the truck that he had on his previous, a couple weeks ago on his capital project. So it would be for 5,700 water administration. 5710 water treatment. I've been here numerous years. I think Troy and some of the others could say it, but on the screen is our pump house at well number 1 is Powton Avenue, which is in there with Public Works building. The best records we can show is 1946 on the max, and that building was built then. The roof leaks, and there's a little bit of everything wrong with the building, and it's not very effective for heating during the wintertime. We're heating more of the atmosphere outside than inside the building. So we've been up here numerous years asking for new buildings, so I'm back for another year. We're looking at upgrading the chemicals for our pH upgrade system. So that would be more regulatory. MDEs has suggested we go to this route a little bit. So we were just trying to follow MDE's guidelines with our pH to maintain and try to keep it more of a steady baseline. So that would be for 5710 water treatment, for 5720 water distribution. Some of this.
Hold up real quick, back to your building. When you owe it to yourself to go down and go inside this building because there's not enough room to change your mind. So with what Jamie's got with a setup now as far as chemicals and all that stuff, they're being transported as you go. So the idea, if you would, Jamie, on this building, should the mayor and council approve a new building, we want to build a building a little bit bigger than this one around this one, and then tear this one down after the new building's up. And that would give us more room to store stuff instead of toting it back and forth as you make the trip daily.
And the pump that's inside it would still be able to be operational while you do all these things?
It'd probably be down for a month for electrical upgrades and the electrical side aspect. Since you're speaking of that, I'll make it in, but I talked to AC Salts today, and I was hoping they would be here today to start working, prepping for the new well, but as it stands, they can't do anything until the material gets here, and now that they pushed back, delayed another 2 weeks, so I just wanted to bring you all up to date on that real quick. So I know this isn't probably the right place, but I just wanted to update you since it was on my mind.
Now, the Powton Avenue well house, we put money in a budget, what, 2 years ago for that? Then we shelved the expenditure mid-year, right?
Yes.
So, I mean.
We had put money in there and actually had to take it out. And the other year when we had a lot of valves go bad and we replaced a lot, we had to use the money elsewhere, which we just had to use it. So it was there, so we had to use it for a different expense.
Thank you. Let's move on to water distribution.
Okay.
5720.
There's some valves on Schoolfield and Elizabeth before they do all the paving in that area. We would like to replace some of the valves just because of age, and some of them are very hard to turn. And South Main Street in the area of Washington, there's a couple that are bad down there, so we would like to change them out. If you see, there's a South Main Street Germantown Road connection underneath of 113 from Crushing Crab to almost to Reedy Cove. I would like to loop, like Tim always says, electric best off to loop it. One, it helps with water quality, volume of water if there's something happens, because right now the town's limited to water crossings on 4 spots on across 113, 113 and 346. Branch Street, Bay Street, and Decatur. This would also help with looping, and we call it a dead end's a bad thing to have because you have to flush the hydrants more. So we were hoping if we could get this is a 2-year project. DBF had a company, or not a company, they did a job for another municipality similar in the lengthwise, and they were looking at a little over right around $600,000 for it. And the smart meter project, which we've already just got our bids back for our meters, and they will probably be on the next budget or next council meeting for your approval to proceed.
Thank you. Any questions for the water fund?
So Jamie, I do have a question or two. The F-550 dump truck is split with streets.
Yes, sir.
So should that be 43.5 instead of the full 87?
The 87 was presented in the general fund, so 87, the other
If you
half
could-
is in general.
If you can find us a 550 for 87,000, we'll buy two of them.
It's 190.
What we're
Oh, so
seeing,
the
what we're
87
seeing
is
is
the-
the split price.
Oh,
okay. All right, all
You
right.
should just
I will
say
tell you,
English.
and I know
Planning used them.
Ocean City did buy, Ocean City, the town of Ocean City, I was down there picking up a part the other day, and Ocean City just bought an F-550 with just a utility bid, and I was shocked what they told me, and they paid 147 for theirs.
Okay, so that was on
So
me.
that's,
Okay. And then my other, I just wanted to clarify for, those who may be watching, that these are utility funds that, this is not, it's not tax revenue, this is based on fees.
Correct.
So I just want to clarify that for anyone who may be watching.
and I will say, when we do, I do have another project that was budgeted this year, I will let you know, hopefully within the next 2 to 4 weeks, we will have it done. The valving at the intersection of Harrison and North Main Street, we've been gathering all of our parts together. We're going to try to replace 5 valves and a fire hydrant all in one day. We will bring a contractor in, and I will let Jeff and them, we're going to shut down part of Harrison, but it's the cutoff that is for the one-way in front of the library. So we're going to block that off and dig it up one day, but we're going to try to replace 5 valves and a hydrant all in one day, so we don't have to do one quarter shutdown. It's doable. We're going to have to bring a contractor in to help us, but we will get it done.
South Main Germantown Road connection, 2-year project.
Yes, sir.
This $300,000 just represents the first year.
Yes, sir. We're thinking overall price would be about 600,000. I'm hoping Troy can probably back up. Hopefully by next year, prices of utility piping and stuff might come down a little bit. I doubt it, but I'm hoping.
I'm hoping too.
I mean, I should have brought a
I
little,
don't think it's gonna happen.
I should have brought a brass valve, a 3/4 inch brass valve, quarter turn. I paid $25 last year, they're $119 this year. I mean, and there's over 2,000 in this town just on water service, so, I mean, that's just one little part. I mean, I could go on for hours. I'm like Tim, I'd overburden you with prices.
What did that valve cost that Councilmember Nair came out to look at?
That has jumped big time. That 6-inch valve used to be about $400, I think it's a little over $1,200 now. And I ordered polymer this week, and it's a chemical that we have to use for the treatment plant. A year and a half ago, I paid right around $3,000. I ordered a shipment, and it'll be here this week, and it's $5,500. It went up 25% price in one day.
One day.
Yeah, and I couldn't order it quick enough. I didn't, try to order it, and they said, no, the price is already, we just let you know that it went.
So this, when are the Schoolfield and Elizabeth area, you were hoping to get to that before they did Maple Avenue, right?
Maple's done, but the Schoolfield and Elizabeth, if they keep the streets in for the next year for that.
Got it. Okay, because I was, in my mind, I was still thinking, wait a minute. Got it.
Yes. And there's a couple spots we have to fix on Schoolfield that I'm gonna get done before, but we've had some sewer issues on also. I'm just trying to stay ahead of the paving to keep up so that we can
Most definitely.
alleviate of trying to go in there and then a valve break and then have to go back and cut the new streets up. Because when we cut up Middle Street, Jeff did have a panic attack, and I thought he was gonna kill me that night. We had to fix it, the water main broke, there was no
Had to be
stopping.
done.
Well, we definitely appreciate the thinking like that.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Which,
but we're in the budget season, so we,
Yeah.
if we know, we can plan accordingly. So, and we have replaced in the last 3 years, we're give or take right around 25 valves in town. And that's just, sometimes we get to a spot that there's one good and two bad, so let's make them all the same.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you. Any additional questions as it relates to the water fund?
Jeff was gonna kill you.
Oh, yeah. When I cut up Middle Street that night.
Brand new street.
I watched the water run down.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the wastewater fund, if you don't mind. still staying within the Water Resources Department.
All right, I'm asking to upgrade the SCADA system at the wastewater treatment plant. Pretty much this is the brains of the treatment plant. This tells us if there's a problem, anything. I was speaking with our IT, well, I spoke with Mary and Cars have been talking with the contractor that specializes into it. We need this upgrade due to the system is working off of Windows. We're not even compatible. It's been outdated for like 5 years. So if this crashes, then we would have to manually run everything. We'd have to have somebody there 24/7. So I'm asking for this to be upgraded so that we can, they'll upgrade the computer system that runs everything, and they'll have the old computer system and the new computer system probably run for anywhere from 2 to 4 months to make sure everything's working correctly, and then we can run off the new SCADA system. And then I'll go to 5810, which is Broad Street Lift Station. If you all can look at the pictures, Tim can back me up. It doesn't have breakers, it has fuses.
Yeah.
I don't know when that was outlawed, but it's still in there. If you see the far right-hand picture, we have to go down in there every day to break the bar screens. Councilman Nichols has been there and seen it, witnessed it, everything. Okay, she did it then. I took the picture of the hydromatic. If you look at it, the last time anything was updated was 3/13 of 1970. That was almost 9 years before I was hatched. And then the building, that's the building it's in. If you ride down Broad Street, and before we tear it down, we do have to get some asbestos remediation due to the roof we do believe the roof is asbestos.
Looks like it.
And it's just an old, plans date back. Me and Marvin worked on it this morning. You see the date, 1936. There might be somebody in town can tell us, but that's what the blueprints at the plant say, 1936, and it was on them when they were developed, drawn. So I would like that to be.
Now, are we going to pursue something similar to what we're looking at for William Street?
We would like to, but with today's world, I imagine that concrete base would hold it, but we would like to move it forward closer to the road a little bit. Put a whole new wet well in, bring it up to MDE guidelines, and as I said in the last public hearing, I think it was, we would have to do it in a 2-part contract because generators were looking at a year out. Unless we knew we were going to start in a year, we could probably purchase it now or to get the ball rolling and get on the production line.
I thought a few years ago, didn't we discuss phasing the project?
Last year, if I'm not mistaken, we had 300,000 in there,
And then went to emergencies as well.
and then it went to emergencies as well.
So Jamie, well, actually, how much, so we have 2.3 with the ARPA funds in your 2 funds so far. That's correct?
Yes.
So that's 2.3. We have, how much for the Washington Street?
110,000.
110,000. So there's 2.4 right there
And 350,000 for the well.
for the well. Okay. So we're at 2.7 out of the 4 point something that we're scheduled to receive. Okay. The million for the lift station, I don't know how to, this is an anticipated not to exceed amount. Like this is what you're hoping to have to cover everything.
I would love to say that.
Okay.
I'm not going to swear by it because of today's prices. When we looked at we're working off of almost this time last year numbers.
Okay.
So I've talked to people that do concrete. Concrete like went through the roof. I'm afraid to say. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, that's a best guess, not a best guess, but when we looked at it 8 months ago, this was pretty firm. I mean,
Yeah, I understand. It's what you have available to your knowledge right now.
But I would like to say, and I'm not speaking for anyone on this dais, nor for anyone that's watching, nor for anyone that's here. I will tell you unequivocally there's not a night that I leave this place since I've been employed, there's two things that are on my mind. One, are our place safe? Number two, when we gonna get the phone call about Broad Street lift station failing?
Right, and I don't want to give the
Failed,
impression that I'm not for it. I just wanted to know
Yeah.
your,
And that is in your area, which is right across the street from your house.
well,
Get a hand pump from
I mean, I will say,
give me a call if something goes wrong. and I'll-
At least you're uphill from it.
Yes.
That would be funny.
for now, you're downhill. It's gonna run down to you. But I would, the other thing is the, what we own there. You're on a very, very tight spot. I mean, we have length, but the width is going to be very tricky.
Okay,
That's going to be the,
yeah. Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't want to do it, I just was just asking about the amount of it, so that's all. Then there's a space issue, obviously.
yes.
Okay.
I'll move it to your front yard.
Yes,
Well, my only concern with that Broad State Street spot is, having been there, having seen it, know that you guys go there every single day, 365 days a year, and that place is unforgiving. There ain't nothing about it that's nice, nothing. My thing is, I know that with the planned upgrade, knock on wood, that would alleviate some of that tremendously. But I'd like to also, I mean, I'm hoping that you would have to do this, but I'd like to see there be some kind of like safety call button there, because of the condition that it's in right now, when you're going there now, one person every day, I mean, just going down into the manhole, literally, my thought was, dude, if I were to fall in here and I was by myself, I'd be SOL in this hole. You know what I mean? And that is the God's honest truth. That's what I thought. Now, I wasn't scared of spiders and things, but I was afraid that if I would trip on that slick stuff in that hole, you'd be lost. You really would. And there's no way to call for help down in there. If you're all by yourself on a Christmas day and your family's thinking, yep, he's at the place working, and you never come home. So, and that is a reality. I saw that for being in there. I just hope that with this new place that comes, there's some kind of pull lever or something.
With what we plan on proposing or what we would like to see, you will not have to go down in it at all.
Oh, good.
You will be 100% above grade. On the pictures, when you crawl down in there, we're exempt because it was predated before the confined space. That's the only reason, I wouldn't say we're exempt, we're grandfathered. But if we do anything, we have to meet up to the new confined space.
Well, Grandpa is not gonna be there to save you if you were to get hit upside the head when you
No,
fall in
ma'am.
that hole right now, so.
And like I said, the last time anybody's done electrical work is it was checked in 313 of 1970. I mean, I just wanted, I shouldn't say it, but it's pumped a lot of you-know-what.
And then some.
Some good stuff, too.
Any other questions for Jamie?
I'd like to make a comment about the electrical system on that pump house. I had been in there, and it's kind of like when you have a power issue, when you go to energize it back, you kind of turn your head and hope for the best. So it's in really bad shape electrically.
And I noticed we didn't have anything from Stormwater. And I know the reason why, but I'm just saying. I
We
noticed
just forgot to include a page.
I know. There are no available funding sources to be able to cover any capital project.
At the moment, yes.
Correct.
And I want to just go over the revenues we haven't highlighted on the water fund. So, yes, there is $1,300,000 is a request to advance from the ARPA grant funds to cover the smart metering project and also $300,000 for the South Main Germantown Connect for the project for the first year. The special connection revenues is estimated to be received about 100 EDUs for the fiscal '23. There's a mix of commercial and residential. So if we take 100 times the water portion, that comes to $438,000, and that's going to be allocated to the capital projects. So operating revenues utilized is about $79,000 at the moment with the prices that we have on this list. For the sewer fund, we have $1 million as a request to advance from the ARPA funding for the Broad Street lift station and the remainder of 17,000 from the regular revenues.
How about sharing the conversation that we had today regarding, I know this is not part of this, but I think the council and the mayor need to hear this. The conversation that we had today regarding the closing of the fund for 22, what your projection is, especially for the sewer fund.
Well, with the 100 special connection fees, the EDUs, the sewer would be in a good position to complete all the debt requirements, paying the principal and the interest for the full year, and also allocate some monies to the capital projects if needed, as emergencies or something like that, and potentially start repaying the due to due from to the general fund as
So
everything goes as planned.
So the good news is, if we go as planned, I can't remember, I cannot remember, Jamie, I don't know if you can remember, this is not picking on you.
That's all right.
It'd be one of the first years in a long, long time, if everything goes as planned, that we'll close this fund in the black.
Wow.
But that's a really short duration, because if we look at the available money to be, or the available EDUs to charge out, those are becoming more and more limited. And with that being said, some of that revenue needs to be diverted to an upgrade.
Exactly,
Great.
and that's why we need to discuss, or come back to discussion to the stormwater, water and sewer fees, and the capital fee that needs to be placed on, in the sewer and water fund should be going on this capital reserve fund that we've adopted as a policy, because EDU revenues is not predictable. We will budget one amount, and then if something goes unplanned, we will not receive the amount, then the monies that we have reserved from the past collection would go to the debt services, but the capital will suffer.
Having 100 in a year is a lot, and that hadn't happened in a long time, and it's not gonna happen
It hasn't,
again.
so that's what I'm saying, is projected, it sounds really good, I'm hoping it goes as planned.
And that 100 will put us at a point of either planning or shovel ready. So, I mean, there's no two ways to splice it.
None?
Which leads us to the $1,750,000 we got.
It's not gonna touch it.
Well, it's
$2.5 million project.
But it sure will go a long way towards easing that blow of it by having that much.
But I mean, in full disclosure, what do we have in existing monies that are already, that we moved over to the side in the interest account? Do you recall that off the top of your head?
The EDU escrow in the
Correct.
bank, we have about 900. With that said, if we will receive another million, I would suggest just to hold on and keep it as is, because fiscal '24, I don't think we will be looking at 100 EDUs coming.
And that's only
forward.
2 years of
Right,
debt service
so-
and principal.
Right, so those need to be reserved and not spent.
I agree. All right, well, big decisions, but I think Natalie hit on a very important point, and you've heard it before, that we need to begin the adjustments to our fees to be able to include capital funding, because the Water Resources Fund and water and sewer are in desperate need.
So we can see the stormwater page included in
I think
the
it's
next capital.
only when needed. But yes, so, all right, thank you. Any questions for our finance director as it relates to any of the utility funds, revenues, or expenditures, or our department heads that we have here this evening? All right, then let's go ahead and conclude our budget work session, and we'll return back in about 10 minutes for our regular session.
And before you adjourn, may I say one thing as well?
Yeah.
I spoke highly of some stuff that Tim's done, so I want to talk real quick about Jamie, since he's been in the role that he's been in, and prior to that as the superintendent of wastewater. Everybody I know has heard this before, but he operates, I say he directs the operation for a state-of-the-art plant and a state-of-the-art spray site, spray irrigation setup. He has overseen multiple stormwater projects, and I'm speaking for you, so I hope I'm right, because I know you well enough.
Yeah.
His pride and joy when it comes to the stormwater projects is the Graham Avenue project that was done a couple years ago. And we actually had the opportunity last Wednesday, we met with representatives from the University of Maryland Sea Grant Extension Program. And I don't get excited for some of the stuff these folks look at, but they were very excited, and they were just beside themselves when they got to Grand Avenue.
Thank you. All right. Good job. Good job to both of you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see each other in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Take a break.